Perhaps you are wondering where the MiG-25 went, as the MiG-27 and multiple versions of the MiG-23 has already appeared in War Thunder. So let's go through a brief history of the plane and how it performed, and whether it will fit in the game. Hello, I'm Hino from the Hinochi Des YouTube channel, and I will be explaining how and if War Thunder will add the MiG-25 into the game. Now with that out of the way, let's get right into this. Designed in the early 1960s, the MiG-25 Foxbat represents the Soviet Union's take on a twin-engine supersonic single-seat interceptor. The plane was originally designed to counter high-flying bombers such as the B-58 and XB-70. As such, the MiG-25 was designed with a heavy emphasis on achieving high top speed and a good climb rate. It also has a secondary focus on radar and beyond visual range weapons, in order to deal with such bomber incursions. Many versions of the Foxbat were produced. However, we will focus on two versions, the MiG-25 PD and the MiG-25N. The MiG-25P was the initial production version. However, in 1976, Viktor Belenko defected to Japan with his jet, which allowed the Western specialists to thoroughly examine the Foxbat. Belenko's defection directly led to the development of the MiG-25 PD, the first major modification to the Foxbat. It features the new RP-25M post-Doppler radar, as well as an IRST system, similar to the one found on the MiG-23 MLD. Further development resulted in the MiG-25M, an experimental version equipped with more powerful engines. This version never made it out of mass production as the program was ultimately cancelled, with resources redirected to the more promising MiG-31. Looking at the large wings, you will be forgiven for thinking the MiG-25 is a maneuverable fighter. However, one look beneath the surface will tell you otherwise. The plane weighs in at an eye-watering 35 tons. To give some context, the MiG-23 MLD has a gross weight of just under 15 tons, while the F-4E Phantom, a plane that's considered to be heavy by most players, tips the scale at 19 tons. This plane is absolutely not designed for dogfights, with a maximum maneuvering limit at 4.5 G. In training, a MiG-25 pulled an 11 G turn inadvertently. Post-flight inspections show the airframe suffered from severe permanent damage. This unsurprisingly results in flight performance that is considered disappointing. The plane has a thrust-to-weight ratio of 0.41, resulting in a top speed of 700 knots at sea level. That's barely supersonic. Its only saving grace is at high altitude where it can achieve Mach 2.83. In fact, the MiG-25 was seen reaching speed of Mach 3.2 on radar, making the Foxbat the fastest fighter jet of its time. Its record still stands even today, over half a century later. Since the plane is so fast, I'm sure some of you are concerned that the plane might just run away and drag out matches. However, this should not be a concern as the plane is only capable of achieving these speeds at high altitude, where your missile will perform significantly better due to thinner atmosphere. You can easily pick off MiG-25 hiding at high altitude with beyond visual range missiles. The plane features a rather interesting weapons loadout. It does not feature a gun or mounting points for gun pods. This means the plane is completely reliant on missiles. The inability for fighters to mount guns does not preclude its introduction to War Thunder, as the precedent has already been set by the Sea Vixen. Its most common loadout consists of 4 R-40 medium-range missile, or 2 R-40 and 4 R-60M missiles. The R-40 has a maximum range of 30 km and is capable of 24G overload. It can either be fitted with a semi-active radar homing seeker or infrared seeker, designated the R-40R and R-40T respectively. Improved version of the R-40 with better maneuverability and a larger explosive warhead were also developed. The R version received an all-aspect seeker. These improvements were known as the R-40RD and the R-40TD. I also believe that the MiG-25 could carry early versions of the R-73, a 4th generation missile, with advanced features such as thrust vectoring and countermeasure resistance. Anyways, this wraps up the weapons section, so let's move on to how the plane could perform in game. While the MiG-25s may not be able to fulfill its originally designed role to intercept bombers, I still think it could be a viable addition to War Thunder. As mentioned earlier, this will not be the only fighter that is unable to carry guns. When you consider that most top-tier kills are achieved by missiles, the lack of guns does not concern me. Most would agree that the MiG-23 MLD and the F-4EJ Kai are currently the two strongest aircraft, and it is indisputable that the defining feature for both planes are their powerful radars and beyond visual range capabilities. Their gun-based armament are only responsible for a fraction of their kills. When more modern aircraft and missiles are eventually added, I predict the importance of guns will only continue to decrease. I think it is fine to introduce the MiG-25 into the game. I feel the MiG-25 PD should be introduced with the option to pick between early R-40s and R-60Ms. While the R-40s may feature a significantly greater range than anything currently available in War Thunder, its performance is unlikely to be game-breaking. This is because the missiles was originally designed to counter strategic bombers. As such, its maneuverability is extremely limited. If the statistics shows that it is underperforming, then the plane could be easily buffed. Armament-wise, it could easily receive the R-40RD and the TD, while in terms of flight performance, the plane could easily be renamed and receive the more powerful engines from the MiG-25M. I don't think the R-73s should be introduced under most circumstances, as their performance is an order of magnitude higher than currently available missiles. If you want to learn more about missiles, check out this video where I go into detail on what future missiles could come to War Thunder.